March 1943 unfolded with relentless storms across the North Atlantic as convoys struggled under mounting pressure from coordinated U-boat assaults. German commanders believed their wolf packs finally possessed decisive momentum, driving deep into vital shipping lanes feeding Britain's strained wartime economy. Freighters burned across frigid waters while escort vessels raced desperately between distress signals, often finding only scattered debris and silence. London analysts warned that losses threatened essential fuel reserves, ammunition shipments, aircraft deliveries, and supplies sustaining embattled Allied positions worldwide. American planners recognized that merchant sinkings now exceeded shipyard output, risking strategic collapse unless immediate countermeasures altered battlefield dynamics significantly. Washington officials debated production priorities, convoy reinforcement requirements, and innovative solutions aimed at reversing Germany's increasingly destructive undersea campaign immediately. Reports arriving from shattered convoys painted grim realities, revealing exhausted sailors battling sleepless nights as submarines advanced relentlessly through darkened waters. Civilian leaders feared collapsing morale because coastal communities witnessed constant burials, deepening awareness that maritime lifelines faced unprecedented existential danger. Meteorologists reported gales worsening search operations, forcing escorts to choose between defensive positioning or reckless pursuits across hazardous wave-torn expanses. Dönitz reviewed intercepted communications revealing Allied vulnerabilities, strengthening his belief that intensified pressure might deliver victory before American responses matured. Convoy commanders increasingly transmitted desperate pleas requesting reinforcements, emphasizing that every additional escort vessel represented invaluable protection across widening operational frontiers. Cold rain hammered steel hulls endlessly, while radio operators monitored transmissions describing torpedo strikes erupting without warning beneath obscured night horizons. Maritime strategists recognized crisis momentum escalating, insisting that without immediate transformation convoys would disintegrate under relentless submarine dominance across critical theaters. Naval intelligence officers compiled exhaustive reports summarizing intercepted directives guiding wolfpack formations, intent on severing vital logistical arteries sustaining transatlantic resistance. High-frequency direction-finding stations struggled amid violent static interference, hindering accurate triangulation essential for predicting coordinated attacks exploiting emerging atmospheric disturbances patterns. Seasoned mariners described convoys appearing like lantern chains drifting through infinite darkness, hunted by unseen adversaries exploiting every fleeting vulnerability mercilessly. Admiralty forecasts predicted catastrophic outcomes if sinkings continued unchecked, presenting projections demonstrating potential starvation and industrial paralysis across multiple Allied territories. Military logisticians warned that continued tanker losses jeopardized offensives requiring reliable fuel deliveries, stretching dangerous nautical miles facing persistent threats ahead. Churchill conveyed urgent appeals emphasizing Atlantic primacy, arguing that victory depended entirely upon sustaining ceaseless maritime arteries linking continents under siege. Strategic forecasts revealed merchant fleet exhaustion accelerating, illustrating wartime strain that threatened resilience within embattled naval formations confronting prolonged attritional conflict. Across turbulent mid-ocean gaps, crews recalled overwhelming dread, acknowledging that without revolutionary solutions, survival prospects rapidly eroded beneath escalating maritime devastation. Thus, the stage was set for unprecedented transformation as American hunter-killer groups prepared to confront expanding U-boat power, threatening global stability. Intelligence rooms in Washington buzzed with increasing urgency as analysts reviewed convoy destruction reports revealing catastrophic vulnerabilities demanding immediate strategic reinvention. Naval planners studied mathematical projections showing shipping losses surpassing replacement capacity, confirming that conventional escort patterns no longer countered rapidly evolving submarine tactics effectively. Data specialists compiled charts linking wolfpack movements with convoy gaps, demonstrating systemic weaknesses requiring unconventional solutions beyond incremental reinforcements alone. Across London, Admiralty officers convened late-night meetings assessing operational failures while advocating innovations capable of restoring initiative throughout contested Atlantic corridors. Staff committees examined U-boat patrol cycles, uncovering exploitable intervals created by refueling requirements, slow repositioning efforts, and dependence upon coordinated radio transmissions. Technical advisors recommended integrating emerging detection advancements into aggressive strategies, challenging assumptions that escorts must remain tethered exclusively to vulnerable merchant formations. American strategists proposed creating independent task units, combining escort carriers with agile destroyer screens designed for offensive sweeps across suspected submarine concentrations. The concept promised dynamic flexibility because carrier aircraft could extend surveillance far beyond traditional surface limitations, enabling proactive interdiction rather than reactive defense. Skeptics questioned resource allocation, fearing critical vessels diverted from convoy duties might intensify vulnerabilities across heavily trafficked commercial routes. British experts contributed decades of antisubmarine experience, emphasizing that aircraft presence alone created deterrent effects, forcing U-boats to submerge prematurely and reduce situational awareness capabilities. Collaborative committees documented comparative analyses showing that concentrated hunter forces achieved disproportionate success compared with dispersed escorts reacting piecemeal. Joint operational doctrines emerged outlining multi-tiered engagement cycles linking radar scouts, radio intercept teams, and surface units into integrated pursuit networks. Industrial leaders confirmed escort carrier production schedules accelerating significantly, enabling deployment of compact platforms capable of operating small but effective air groups under rugged conditions. American shipyards implemented streamlined construction processes, lowering costs while delivering vessels optimized for rapid conversion from merchant hull designs. Allied logistics officers coordinated transatlantic component distribution, ensuring airframes, spare parts, and maintenance equipment reached new formations without delay. Scientific advisors demonstrated prototype systems including centimetric radar capable of detecting periscopes, snorkels, and conning towers with unprecedented precision across varied sea states. Engineers refined high-frequency direction-finding arrays offering real-time bearings on enemy transmissions vital for predicting coordinated attack patterns. Weapon specialists introduced advanced depth charge projectors, enabling sustained bombardment across broader lethal envelopes, increasing pressure on submerged adversaries. London and Washington forged unified policy directives authorizing experimental deployment cycles, allowing hunter-killer groups to refine tactics during live patrols. Staff colleges drafted updated manuals emphasizing offensive maneuvering, coordinated aerial sweeps, and continuous communication loops, linking dispersed elements into responsive killing formations. Training centers simulated complex engagements, teaching crews to interpret sensor data rapidly and exploit fleeting submarine exposures decisively. By early summer, planners recognized their combined efforts were coalescing into an unprecedented operational framework promising transformational impact across embattled Atlantic theaters. Decision-makers sensed momentum shifting as data-driven innovations produced viable pathways toward reversing strategic imbalance, threatening the survival of interconnected Allied war efforts. Hunter-killer doctrine now stood poised to challenge entrenched German assumptions, offering hope amid deepening global uncertainty. Escort carriers like USS Bogue emerged from American shipyards as compact platforms designed for relentless anti-submarine operations across widening Atlantic battlegrounds. Their construction relied on merchant hull conversions, enabling rapid production schedules, supporting urgent demands created by escalating German submarine pressure. USS Card followed similar principles, allowing naval planners flexibility when deploying aviation assets into contested ocean regions requiring constant reconnaissance coverage. These vessels offered crucial advantages because their aircraft could pursue surfaced U-boats beyond destroyer detection ranges constrained by weather conditions. Pilots trained aboard these carriers learned intricate search patterns, integrating radar sweeps with visual tracking methods essential for spotting distant periscopes. Flight decks remained compact, requiring disciplined coordination, ensuring safe landings despite turbulent seas common across mid-ocean operational environments confronting escorts. Maintenance crews worked continuously repairing engines, adjusting sensor calibrations, and preserving airframe integrity under demanding conditions encountered during constant patrol rotations. Bogue's destroyer escorts formed protective screens, enabling coordinated depth charge attacks whenever aircraft forced submarines underwater following sudden interception attempts. USS Card demonstrated similar effectiveness as her group executed sweeping patrol arcs, intercepting refueling submarines crucial for sustaining prolonged German operations. Carrier commanders emphasized offensive momentum, believing continuous pressure eroded U-boat morale and disrupted coordinated raids targeting vulnerable transatlantic convoys. Aviation units launched dawn patrols, exploiting favorable lighting conditions, offering visibility across restless seas, hiding numerous submarine threats beneath crested swells. These missions allowed escorts opportunities for rapid pursuit, enabling combined attacks, integrating aerial bombardment with surface depth charge barrages. Operational reports noted increasing success rates as Bogue's aircraft identified unsuspecting U-boats recharging batteries during calm intervals between violent Atlantic storms. Card's pilots refined low-altitude approaches, maximizing surprise, forcing submarines into chaotic, evasive dives, often leaving detectable wakes across darkened surfaces. Surface crews coordinated closely with aviators, interpreting signal reports, adjusting bearing calculations, and launching swift counterattacks across suspected underwater escape routes. These innovations represented foundational elements, transforming escort carriers into formidable platforms, challenging U-boat dominance throughout previously uncontested operational regions. Bogue's early patrol successes provided crucial morale boosts, reinforcing belief that concentrated offensive pressure might reverse German momentum, threatening Allied stability. Card's operations expanded strategic reach, demonstrating escort carriers' capacity for sustained patrol endurance across distant sectors requiring continuous aerial vigilance. Their combined efforts revealed that aviation integration fundamentally altered antisubmarine warfare, creating dynamic environments where U-boats increasingly lost tactical initiative entirely. Carrier groups established precedents, shaping doctrines emphasizing collaboration between sensors, aircraft and destroyers, pursuing coordinated strikes across expansive maritime territories. These developments positioned Bogue and Card as pioneering assets, proving that determined innovation could counter sophisticated threats, undermining wartime survival prospects. By late 1943, both carriers demonstrated unprecedented effectiveness, validating emerging doctrines shaping future hunter-killer operations across increasingly contested Atlantic theaters. Centimetric radar revolutionized Atlantic warfare by revealing hidden submarine silhouettes previously shielded by storms, darkness, and vast ocean distances, limiting earlier detection capabilities. Operators aboard escort carriers monitored sweeping displays where faint echoes indicated periscopes or conning towers rising briefly through chaotic waves. This breakthrough technology denied U-boats the advantage of surprise, forcing commanders to reconsider surfacing habits that once guaranteed operational freedom overnight. Destroyer escorts enhanced these advantages through refined sonar systems, transmitting powerful pulses penetrating deep beneath turbulent ocean layers, concealing submerged adversaries. Trained technicians interpreted returning reflections, identifying metallic signatures, distinguishing submarines from drifting debris scattered across conflict zones. These advancements allowed hunter formations to maintain relentless pressure by tracking evasive dives with unprecedented accuracy during extended engagements. Ultra-intelligence expanded this scientific arsenal further by unlocking encrypted communications, directing German submarine movements across vast operational corridors. Codebreakers at Bletchley Park analyzed hurried transmissions revealing Wolfpack intentions, guiding intercept strategies shaping critical Allied responses. Their deciphered messages exposed refueling schedules, rendezvous points, and anticipated convoy strike plans, enabling preemptive countermeasures that disrupted synchronized attacks effectively. Aircrews integrated radar insights with ultra-derived coordinates, enabling targeted patrol sweeps, maximizing encounter probabilities across designated sectors. These blended methods transformed search operations into coordinated campaigns, aligning intelligence, detection systems, and tactical execution into powerful unified frameworks. Pilots flew meticulously plotted grids where radar assists highlighted potential contacts, guiding rapid descent patterns, triggering combined surface responses. Destroyer commanders relied on sonar bearings, adjusting pursuit vectors after aircraft forced U-boats underwater through aggressive strafing runs across exposed decks. Coordinated operations involved continuous communication loops linking airborne observers with surface units, analyzing every acoustic signature echoing across unpredictable depths. Seamless integration between sensors enabled swift depth charge deployments, increasing pressure on submarines already disoriented by repeated aerial harassment. Allied success depended upon disciplined crews interpreting scientific instruments accurately, while adapting quickly to rapidly shifting battlefield conditions dominating Atlantic corridors. Radar teams studied environmental interference, correcting signal abnormalities created by shifting swells and metallic clutter produced during heavy storm activity. Sonar operators refined recognition techniques, isolating submarine patterns from marine life distortions, complicating underwater detection accuracy during prolonged night operations. Ultra-analysts maintained exhausting schedules translating intercepted messages under intense secrecy protocols, ensuring information reached operational commanders without delay. Their insights formed crucial foundations shaping strategic maneuvers, enabling hunter-killer groups to pursue adversaries before coordinated raids unfolded. Each decrypted signal represented an opportunity to disrupt enemy confidence by undermining carefully arranged operational plans supporting German submarine networks. These innovations symbolized the merging of science and warfare, forging transformative capabilities, shifting momentum across embattled Atlantic theaters. Radar illuminated hidden dangers, sonar exposed submerged retreats, and Ultra revealed command structures guiding coordinated U-boat actions. Together, they empowered hunter-killer groups with intelligence advantages, overwhelming adversaries previously dominating vast maritime domains through stealth and synchronization. The combined impact reshaped strategic landscapes, proving that technological evolution could overturn deeply entrenched threats, challenging global Allied survival prospects. American hunter-killer groups entered contested Atlantic corridors determined to dismantle wolfpack systems, exploiting coordinated night attacks overwhelming vulnerable merchant formations consistently. Ultra-decrypts revealed operational patterns showing how U-boats maneuvered into interception lines, allowing Allied commanders to predict concentration points accurately. Escort carriers launched preemptive patrols across suspected assembly zones, scattering submarines before they synchronized movements essential for executing tightly timed assaults effectively. Radar-equipped aircraft illuminated surface U-boats traversing pre-dawn waters, forcing panic dives, disrupting communication cycles crucial for directing dispersed hunting elements. Destroyer escorts advanced aggressively along projected convergence paths, using high-frequency direction-finding cues identifying encrypted transmissions guiding wolfpack realignments. These intercepts exposed vulnerabilities showing submarines relied heavily on extended radio bursts, revealing approximate locations exploitable by persistent Allied surveillance. American groups capitalized on these revelations by merging intelligence with maneuver tactics designed to fracture coordinated formations before attacks materialized. Surface commanders ordered sweeping arcs across convoy outer screens, catching shadowing submarines attempting to relay contact reports back toward headquarters. Each interception eroded wolfpack cohesion because communication failures forced isolated boats to abandon synchronized tactics intended to maximize battlefield pressure. Aviation teams intensified harassment by maintaining constant coverage, preventing submarines from surfacing long enough to transmit essential operational updates securely. Prolonged submergence depleted batteries rapidly, reducing underwater speed and maneuvering capacity essential for successful nighttime torpedo approaches against reinforced convoys. Hunter-killer groups exploited these disadvantages by integrating sonar-guided attacks that targeted fatigued submarines, unable to sustain evasive dives effectively. Destroyers launched precision barrages across predicted escape routes, using overlapping patterns maintaining relentless pressure through repeated depth charge cycles. These actions denied commanders recovery intervals necessary for reorganizing elements scattered across widening distances created by continuous Allied pursuit. Wolfpacks fragmented under this pressure because loss of central coordination stripped away tactical synchronization once considered decisive advantages. Reports from surviving crewmen described increasing confusion as command structures deteriorated, leaving individual captains struggling to improvise amid escalating threats. Donuts recognized strategic deterioration after receiving fragmented updates revealing repeated losses weakening operational strength across essential Atlantic corridors. Despite intensified efforts to restore tactical balance, submarines struggled to counter unprecedented intelligence-driven methods, reshaping dynamics previously favoring coordinated assaults. Allied formations maintained offensive momentum by refining interception models continuously, adjusting pursuit routes, matching evolving German redirection attempts. These developments gradually exposed Wolfpack limitations, proving coordinated submarine dominance could collapse once targeted by adaptive offensive doctrines. By late 1943, American commanders understood Wolfpacks no longer represented invincible forces because broken communication chains nullified their tactical effectiveness completely. American hunter-killer groups began demonstrating extraordinary effectiveness during early June 1943 as carrier aircraft repeatedly located submarines previously considered nearly impossible targets. These initial encounters stunned German commanders because rapid interceptions suggested Allied forces now possessed unprecedented awareness regarding submarine intentions across contested regions. USS Bogue achieved significant breakthroughs when patrol bombers detected U-217 at dawn, forcing abrupt dives that compromised the submarine's carefully prepared operational timeline. Destroyer escorts closed rapidly, deploying synchronized depth charge patterns that shattered structural integrity and eliminated yet another element within Germany's overstretched Atlantic fleet. Similar success followed as USS Card's aviators intercepted U-118 while it attempted refueling operations essential for sustaining long-range patrols extending across vulnerable convoy lanes. Aircraft executed coordinated bombing runs that disrupted defensive maneuvers, enabling surface forces to complete destructive assaults, eliminating a critical link within the submarine support chain. German survivors reported overwhelming shock because Allied aircraft appeared unexpectedly through cloud openings, revealing precision detection capabilities exceeding assumptions based on earlier technological limitations. Commanders realized surface concealment alone no longer guaranteed safety, forcing constant tension while navigating increasingly monitored operational corridors stretching thousands of dangerous miles. Throughout July, persistent patrols intensified pressure, highlighting the growing power of coordinated intelligence, sensor advancements, and aggressive pursuit doctrines shaping evolving Allied strategies. U-boats attempting shadowing maneuvers found themselves tracked relentlessly by aircraft relaying real-time coordinates, enabling destroyers to intercept before offensive actions matured. One notable event occurred when hunter-killer units detected U-527, attempting evasive maneuvers across turbulent seas following failed attacks on distant merchant formations. Joint bombardments shattered the submarine's escape efforts, demonstrating that coordinated aerial and surface assaults left increasingly limited survival options available to German crews. Operational diaries recovered from captured survivors revealed mounting apprehension as reports described aircraft striking unexpectedly even during foul weather conditions. These observations illustrated shifting battlefield dynamics where environmental protection vanished, reducing opportunities for stealthy nighttime repositioning essential for coordinated Wolfpack operations. August brought additional devastation when hunter-killer forces located U-86 repeatedly attempting communications, broadcasts necessary for aligning weakened patrol groups. Rapid responses forced multiple submergence cycles that depleted battery reserves significantly, enabling destroyers to deliver final destructive depth charge sequences with minimal resistance. German analysts recognized a disturbing trend showing submarines lost faster than training centers could replace experienced crews essential for maintaining operational capability. Command structures acknowledged collapse in morale because survivors described Allied movements appearing almost anticipatory, indicating intelligence exploitation beyond previously assessed boundaries. By late summer, evidence confirmed that Allied momentum had shifted decisively as hunter-killer groups demonstrated sustained superiority across increasingly contested Atlantic sectors. These victories fractured remaining confidence among German commanders, proving that evolving Allied methods now threatened the very foundation of the U-boat campaign entirely. USS Buckley sailed into early May 1944 patrol zones expecting standard anti-submarine operations, never anticipating a confrontation that would become one of history's strangest naval encounters. Radar operators detected U-66 maneuvering erratically across moonlit waters, revealing a submarine attempting desperate evasive patterns after weeks of constant Allied pressure. Buckley's commander ordered full pursuit as sonar teams confirmed metallic echoes, matching known signatures associated with long-range Type IX boats operating near exhaustion. Depth charge barrages forced the submarine toward the surface, where searchlights, illuminated a severely damaged vessel struggling to maintain structural stability during chaotic nighttime maneuvers. Instead of attempting deeper dives, U-66 unexpectedly charged directly toward Buckley, hoping to ram the destroyer escort and disrupt coordinated attack cycles entirely. Crewmen aboard Buckley recalled shouts echoing across the deck as officers ordered high-speed turns, attempting to counter the submarine's accelerating approach sweeping across starboard angles. The two vessels collided violently, creating a shower of metal fragments as sailors struggled to maintain balance amid thunderous impacts, reverberating through both hulls simultaneously. German crewmen poured onto the deck wielding pistols, knives, and improvised weapons, transforming the confrontation into an unprecedented hand-to-hand struggle rarely witnessed in modern naval warfare. American sailors responded instantly, using rifles, fists, and improvised tools to repel boarders fiercely determined to disable Buckley through chaotic melee actions. Engineers rushed topside, joining deck crews as the battle raged under sweeping searchlights casting stark shadows across broken railings, scattered equipment, and drifting clouds of smoke. Amid the confusion, Buckley's gunners unleashed close-range bursts, striking exposed submarine compartments, further crippling U-66 as flames surged along the conning tower. Officers ordered rapid maneuvers, pushing the submarine away, enabling machine gun teams to concentrate sustained fire on structural weak points, tearing apart remaining resistance. German sailors began abandoning the failing vessel as Buckley withdrew, briefly preparing final assault runs across the crippled submarine's position, marked by floating debris. Moments later, explosions erupted within U-66's interior, scattering fragments across blackened waves before the submarine slipped beneath the surface, leaving survivors grasping drifting wreckage. Rescue teams recovered several crewmen, whose shocked expressions reflected disbelief that their final battle involved direct boarding attempts against a fully armed warship. Their accounts described orders given under extreme desperation, hoping to disrupt relentless Allied pursuit that left commanders increasingly cornered across collapsing operational landscapes. Reports forwarded to Washington and London highlighted the extraordinary nature of the clash, demonstrating the unpredictable extremes driven by deteriorating German morale. Naval strategists recognized that the U-66 battle symbolized a turning point where collapsing discipline and desperation replaced earlier coordinated confidence among U-boat crews. The encounter reinforced Allied belief that relentless pressure from hunter-killer groups had shattered remaining illusions of submarine dominance across vital Atlantic theaters. Allied planners recognized that Germany's submarine supply network sustained distant patrols, prompting aggressive strategies designed to dismantle essential logistical foundations. Specialized hunter-killer groups targeted refueling submarines known as Milchkuh units, whose destruction crippled operational endurance across increasingly contested Atlantic corridors. Ultra-decrypts revealed rendezvous schedules, enabling Allied aircraft to intercept support vessels before deliveries occurred, severely limiting extended underwater patrol capabilities. Escort carriers launched rapid sorties, reaching remote rendezvous points where German crews expected minimal resistance while performing critical resupply operations. Destroyer escorts coordinated with patrolling aircraft, creating layered interception barriers that overwhelmed isolated supply units vulnerable to concentrated Allied firepower. Captured survivors described surprise as aircraft appeared suddenly from cloud cover, revealing detection capabilities surpassing earlier assumptions about evasive maneuvering safety. Losses among refueling submarines forced operational commanders to shorten patrol durations severely, undermining coordinated Wolfpack deployments across essential shipping lanes. Technical analysts documented declines in submarine endurance, proving targeted pressure against supply elements disproportionate disruption throughout German undersea forces. American aviators improved search patterns, enabling detection of surface tankers required for transferring fuel, provisions, and components essential for missions. Interceptions increased dramatically throughout summer months, creating persistent shortages that weakened Germany's ability to sustain offensive submarine operations across distant sectors. Coastal command units contributed extensive reconnaissance, ensuring rapid dissemination of sightings that guided hunter-killer groups toward vulnerable supply formations quickly. German commanders attempted countermeasures, including altered routes and dispersed schedules, yet Allied integration of intelligence and aviation nullified these adjustments consistently. Multiple operational diaries reported deteriorating morale among crews aboard supply submarines forced to operate under constant fear of sudden air attacks. Persistent pressure destroyed confidence within U-boat headquarters because support losses eliminated strategic flexibility essential for maintaining broad offensive momentum. Analysts observed that crippled resupply channels compelled submarines to abandon patrol regions entirely, concentrating assets within increasingly restricted boundaries. Disrupted maintenance deliveries left mechanical failures unresolved, increasing breakdowns that exposed damaged submarines to interception during vulnerable return transits across hostile waters. Allied strategists emphasized that eliminating supply lines equaled sinking frontline vessels because both actions degraded Germany's capacity for sustained maritime disruption. Every successful attack reinforced the reality that logistical attrition gradually dismantled operational frameworks supporting submarine campaigns threatening critical Allied lifelines previously. These efforts demonstrated that supply chain targeting offered decisive advantages by fracturing essential networks, sustaining Germany's formidable undersea warfare capabilities across remote theaters. By autumn, analysts confirmed that collapsed resupply structures forced German submarines into shorter missions with reduced effectiveness across narrowing operational corridors. Destroyed logistical pathways marked a decisive turning point because U-boats could no longer challenge expanding Allied dominance across vital Atlantic regions. Through relentless assaults on supply networks, Allied forces ultimately neutralized Germany's capacity to sustain prolonged submarine warfare across global maritime theaters. By early 1944, Allied hunter-killer groups dominated Atlantic patrol lanes, launching continuous operations that left German submarines with diminishing opportunities for survival. Escort carriers pushed deeper into former U-boat strongholds, extending reconnaissance webs that exposed remaining patrol zones once relied upon for concealment and maneuvering space. Radar-equipped aircraft flew overlapping grids that detected surface submarines within minutes, forcing commanders into frantic dives that depleted battery reserves rapidly. Persistent aerial presence shattered traditional doctrines because U-boats could no longer surface safely for extended periods required to recharge essential systems. Destroyer escorts exploited weakened positions using refined sonar techniques, revealing subtle acoustic traces produced by submarines struggling to maintain stealth. Depth charge barrages became increasingly precise as crews mastered new firing patterns optimized for narrow, evasive paths submarines attempted under pressure. Survivor accounts described a sense of inevitability, noting how Allied forces seemed capable of predicting every maneuver attempted across shrinking patrol ranges. Donitz acknowledged operational collapse as reports detailed alarming losses among veteran crews whose experience could not compensate for overwhelming Allied superiority. German yards produced advanced designs including Type 21 boats, yet delays, sabotage, and resource shortages prevented meaningful deployment before strategic conditions deteriorated completely. Allied aircraft intensified strikes against bases along the French coast, destroying pens, workshops, and supply depots essential for sustaining ongoing U-boat operations. Remaining submarines scattered toward Norwegian waters seeking safer patrol zones, yet hunter-killer groups extended coverage into those regions as well. Many U-boats returned to port with mechanical failures caused by extended submergence cycles beyond tolerances envisioned by original designers. Radiomen hesitated to transmit messages because Allied direction-finding units triangulated positions swiftly, turning communication into a lethal vulnerability. Command discipline faltered as inexperienced replacements struggled to maintain control while navigating chaotic battle conditions, increasingly favoring Allied interception teams. Operational diaries recorded rising despair among crews aware that survival rates dwindled dramatically with each passing month of hopeless missions. Destroyers reported sinking submarines attempting desperate surface escapes, suggesting commanders recognized that deeper dives offered no realistic chance of evasion anymore. Captured officers testified that morale evaporated because hunter-killer groups demonstrated unmatched persistence, appearing suddenly across regions considered previously secure. Allied intelligence units maintained constant pressure by forecasting movement patterns, enabling preemptive deployments that intercepted submarines before offensive preparations matured. By early 1945, the Unterseebootwaffe existed largely in name only as operational capability collapsed beneath sustained multi-front attrition. Convoys crossed the Atlantic with unprecedented security, demonstrating that Germany's once formidable submarine force had lost strategic relevance entirely. As the European conflict reached its concluding months, remaining U-boats surrendered en masse, symbolizing the irreversible collapse of a campaign once deeply feared across every Allied maritime theater. Allied victory over the U-boat threat reshaped global maritime strategy, demonstrating how relentless innovation could dismantle seemingly invincible adversaries entirely. Hunter-killer groups proved decisive because their coordinated tactics integrated intelligence, technology, and endurance into a unified framework overwhelming German operations. Postwar analyses emphasized that continuous pressure denied German commanders recovery time, ultimately rendering their boats ineffective across collapsing operational regions. Captured documents revealed collapsing morale within surviving crews, showing exhaustion spreading rapidly as relentless pursuit eliminated confidence in continued resistance. Escaped officers later admitted the psychological impact of constant aircraft patrols proved devastating, erasing the audacity defining Germany's aggressive doctrine. Atlantic shipping lanes reopened safely, enabling uninterrupted movement of essential resources, sustaining Allied offensives across multiple continents during final campaigns. Hunter-killer successes influenced future naval planning, inspiring post-war doctrines emphasizing rapid detection, decisive response, and pressure against emerging underwater threats. Military historians agree that integration of intelligence and technology forged the foundation of antisubmarine warfare, shaping decades of strategic development. German post-war reports acknowledged overwhelming Allied superiority, noting tactical innovation proved decisive once submarines lost technological and strategic advantages completely. Communities along Allied coastlines recognized increased safety as merchant crews sailed with confidence, supported by expanding air and naval protection. International shipping standards evolved significantly because wartime lessons underscored vulnerabilities requiring global cooperation to counter threats effectively across maritime regions. Allied leaders highlighted the campaign's outcome as evidence that decisive innovation could restore strategic balance even under catastrophic wartime pressures. Training programs across numerous navies incorporated lessons demonstrating how disciplined, integration of sensors and coordination could overwhelm underwater adversaries entirely. Historians consistently cite hunter-killer achievements as decisive contributors to Allied victory because their success ensured uninterrupted transatlantic reinforcement throughout campaigns. Former submariners later admitted shock at witnessing advanced Allied methods that eliminated traditional confidence rooted in earlier successful Atlantic patrols. The final collapse of Germany's campaign demonstrated that cumulative pressure could dismantle entrenched systems once considered central to maritime dominance. This shift marked an irreversible transformation shaping post-war naval priorities as nations embraced doctrines emphasizing surveillance, coordination, and technological adaptation. Veterans recalled profound relief following the campaign's conclusion because restored maritime security guaranteed stable supply routes, essential for sustaining global reconstruction efforts. Strategists studying the conflict emphasized that adaptability remained the decisive factor enabling Allied forces to outmaneuver German commanders across shifting operational environments. Military academies incorporated extensive research, demonstrating how intelligence fusion, aviation reach, and persistent screening tactics fundamentally redefined future anti-submarine strategy across theaters. Diplomatic leaders acknowledged the campaign's significance because restored shipping capacity strengthened international cooperation, supporting widespread recovery initiatives, shaping emerging post-war economic stability. Ultimately, the hunter-killer legacy demonstrated coordinated ingenuity overcoming destructive threats while shaping enduring lessons, guiding future maritime defense strategies across global landscapes.